Hey y'all, I wanted to do a check-in because it's been a while since I have been here on Inner Ways Forward to just check in. Wow, it continues to be just quite an astounding time to be a human here on planet Earth. Sometimes I feel like I'm not human, and maybe there's more truth to that than we would think. It's been a wild ride, and that's one of the reasons that I have not been checking in on the channel here on Inner Ways Forward. That there has been so much insight, so much clarity that has come to me about what I want to do here moving forward in the new year and how I hope to help, how I hope to clarify, how I hope to contribute to your life. So I'll share just a little bit about it. And first, before I do that, I want to check in. Just again, it's a tough time. And so it's easy to look around and say, wow, what am I supposed to do? Like, this all seems so negative. And I just want to give you some hope first. Maybe you already have it. Maybe you're in good spirits. Maybe not. But if you're not in good spirits, I know it's easy to look at what's happening and think that's really bad. And there are bad things happening, no doubt about it. I'm not trying to diminish that. But at the same time, I believe we are in the throes of sort of a final last grasp of the way things have been before we start to see the dominoes fall, the pieces fall, where it will become clear to us that it is time to build something new and better in the place of what has been. And so that gives me optimism, not because I think it won't be a challenging time, but because I think there's something on the other side that is really worthwhile for all of us, at least all of us who want a better, brighter, more humane way of operating as a species. That so many of our systems that we have been embedded in and a part of, including our monetary system, but our educational systems, our corporate systems, are just like any system you can name. I think those systems were designed for a different time and a different purpose, and designed for a level of control that is no longer compatible with us. They were designed for different purposes than supporting humanity and sanity, for that matter. And so now we are in this sort of death throes of the grip of that old way. And ultimately, that's a good thing, even if we have to go through some pain to get there. Because I've used the metaphor, and I don't think I've used it here on the channel, but if I have, please forgive me. The metaphor of a kitchen remodel, that my kitchen used to be like this tiny little thing that was basically, it was built as a part-time home for somebody who didn't cook very much. And so it had a little 2-burner stove, not much counter space at all, not much cupboard space, a tiny little oven. It was horrible for cooking. And we like to cook some, I mean, not all the time, but some. And just after a while, it's like it got to be so intolerable dealing with this old kitchen that we're like, okay, we're gonna go through the pain of a remodel where things are torn apart, where we can't use our kitchen at all, where it's dusty and there's just crap all over and the walls are exposed and cut apart and blah, blah, blah. We're gonna go through that pain so that we can have something nice on the other side. And sure enough, that we accomplished that through that remodeling process, through getting through the pain of it, of all the mess, all the dirt, everything. It's much nicer, vastly nicer. And I just think about that for humanity too, that we have that opportunity here. That if we think of this as a massive kitchen remodel where like the old is being torn apart. So what are we going to put in its place? It's an opportunity to think about that. Like if we could really, in a sense, start over, what would we start with? And I know you might be saying cynically, like, no, that's impossible. And I get it. I've been in that mode for many years because I grew up as a Gen Xer, sort of locked into, always felt like we were locked into the systems that my predecessors, especially the baby boom generation and the silent generation before that they built. Even the World War II generation, the so-called greatest generation, they put in place these systems, these structures that then by the time I came along, it's just like we were locked in. And so I just, even if I looked around and said, you know, there's something wrong, that doesn't make sense the way people are doing that thing. Why would they do it that way? Oh, well, I guess I'm just one person. There's no way I can change it. And I think we've all felt that, right? We've all felt that sense of like being locked in, of like we can't do anything with these systems. And yet, now here we are, when the systems are starting to fray at the edges, some more than others. But if you look under the hood, which I've just always had this inclination, like economy, I don't know why, but I've always been interested in just sort of studying the economy. Not that I've used that to make a lot of money, I wish I had, but I've used it to just study how it works and seeing when it's healthy, what it does when it's not healthy. Right now, red flashing bells and buzzers are going off all over, and they have been for months for me about that system. But it's not just that system, it's so many other systems. And it makes me think, maybe this really is the opening, you know, that we have all grown up with these fixed systems that we thought we could not change, and now here they might be about to blow up. Maybe we should take advantage of this opportunity. Like, who's to stop us? The only people to stop us are ourselves. Who say, like, who am I? Who am I to do that? And that's been part of my transformation. That's why you haven't seen a lot of me on here recently, because I got some clarity. You could call it downloads. You could call it whatever you want to, that I'm here to do something in this time, to do something positive, to contribute during this time. And it seemed too big. It seemed too crazy. Like, is this just my ego talking? Like, that I think that I have some special purpose or destiny? And I really resisted. And it kept coming back to me that, yes, Morgan, you're here to do something, to work for the betterment of humanity here to the degree that one person can. You're here to help lead into the future, not as some special exclusive leader, but just to do what you can. That's the message I've received. And so finally I've accepted it. I've just been like, okay, whatever. I'll do that. And regardless, it could be a fantasy. It could be. But who's to say that it is a fantasy? Who's to say that we don't create reality by first dreaming it into, through dreams, what it could look like, and then going out and making that happen? And it just might be that during this time where things are more chaotic and where existing systems are more failing, or at least showing cracks, that this is the time to do that. This is the time to say, oh wait, I can imagine something better than this. Let's really get down to that. Imagining of something better, and then pursuing of something better. It starts with the imagination. And so we don't have to wait until old systems are out of the way or whatever happens to them. We can start that dreaming and picturing and discussing and sharing right now. So I've been doing that some with economic systems, but also just thinking about just a much more humanitarian way of operating. Like, how can we as individuals be part of a more collective society that then allows us to still be individuals, but be part of something bigger than us, and that those two operate in a positive feedback loop with one another. And I'll share more about that later because I don't want to make this ridiculously long. But I think there's so much reason for hope when we think about our possible future. And I know a lot of practices, spiritual practices, say, be in the present. And I agree with those. Like, being present, being here and now is very important for all of us. To be present, to be still. And it's also important for us to spend some time imagining what we want and how things could be better in those present, still moments. So I'm not talking about a frenetic, like goal-oriented, like I gotta get a list of goals and go out and do this. It's much more of a, what do I want? What would my great future be? And I encourage you, if you are going to embark on that exercise, not to just think about it as a list of goals, and not to think about it just as reacting against the things that you hate from the old system. Like, the other day I heard somebody well-meaning say, I am so done with capitalism. I want to just tear it all down, implying that everything about capitalism is bad. And granted, there are many things we are seeing right now, anybody paying attention, that are negative, that are coming from certain variants of capitalism. But it's very easy to get into this reactive space of saying there are bad things with this, and then just saying we're going to do the opposite. It's a little bit like how teenagers sometimes do it, or kids. They want to do things exactly the opposite of the way their parents did them, just to be different, just to differentiate, just to react against. And then that gets us locked in these cycles of ever reacting against the previous thing. The thing before that is a reaction to the thing before that, which is a reaction to the thing before that. And then we're just ever locked in these reactive cycles. This is how we escape the trap. We escape the trap by realizing that there's almost nothing that's all bad. I mean, there are certain things that are all bad, but something like our economic system and capitalism, it's not all bad. Like, there is a fundamental element of benefit to, in my belief system, and I'll stand firmly on this, to the exchange of value, to being entrepreneurial, to creating new things and going out and helping people with those things, improve their lives. That's not to say that that can't turn into excesses, especially when something that began as an entrepreneurial venture then becomes later a very big, bloated, bureaucratic business that uses its influence to sway politicians in its favor to lock in its whatever forever. No, that's when it becomes bad. But see, it's more nuanced ever than just something being all bad or something good. So what I'm encouraging you, if you choose to do this exercise of starting to envision what would a better future be, to try to get out of the reactivity, to try to get out of just like, well, that was all bad, so let's do something completely and 100% different. This is how we swing from one wild pole to the other, and then that doesn't work, so we react, and then that doesn't work, and then we react, and then that doesn't work, and we're like a ping pong ball going back and forth. Do we really want to be the ping pong ball? Or do we want to be centered and grounded and really pick the best of what there is and imagine even better, but not just doing it all as a reaction against? Some reaction against, I can understand. I totally get it. I have that too. There are just some things that make me so angry about the current system. I'll talk about that another time. So I get it. But let's not be the ping pong ball. Let's imagine what it could be. And there's so many awesome ways. When you really embrace this exercise, you can see like, oh, all of these assumptions we've made, if we got rid of these silly assumptions we make about like how money works and quote has to work and just this is how it is, and you're like, wait, what if we had a different money system that worked a different way, that actually rewarded different behaviors? It would make so many of the political problems go away. It would just make them vanish. They would be unnecessary, all these debates. So anyway, it's just cool to imagine it. So that's what I encourage. And I think it's a great thing for the holidays. If you celebrate any kind of holidays, it's a great time to reset before the new year begins and imagine what could the future hold for me. Even if it might take a little while, it's important to think about. So I'll leave you on that note. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a subscriber. And if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe if you want to hear more. That really helps out the channel, helps me reach more people. And I know it's pretty small. And also I'll mention for the new year, I'm going to be doing a bit of rebranding, of moving it to my name, Morgan Giddings, as the primary thing, and Inner Ways Forward as a secondary thing, because I want to expand the scope of what we talk about here. My new tagline for it is Systems, Spirit, and Science for Humanity. Systems, Spirit, and Science for Humanity. And those are the topics that I want to be visiting here, talking about, having a discussion with you. So, speaking of discussion, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. What's on your mind right now in this time, in this weird and crazy time we're in? What's on your mind? I'll read every comment. All right. If I don't talk to you sooner than the new year and holidays, I hope you have great holidays and can relax and tune in to what you really want. See you later.